Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Air Kitty. All right, and today I'm kind of doing a slightly preemptive season of Spoops kind of video. Um, I might add it to the season of Spoops playlist. I still haven't decided really, but there was something that I did a couple weeks ago that I kind of thought was like this would be kind of a good preemptive one because it does kind of tie into the season of Halloween and everything like that. So recently, there was a candy store that took over an old store a couple towns away from me. And, my mom and my sister and I were hanging out. We were eating at this restaurant that was across the street from the store, and we noticed it. And we thought, hey, how about after we're done eating, we'll go over there and check it out because we've never been in it before. It was quite literally like stepping into I know it's kind of weird to mention a Harry Potter reference, but it was quite literally like stepping into Honeydukes a little bit. It was candy galore. They had all sorts of candy, not only just like local candies to just where I live and, stuff like that, as well as just, typical name brand candy like Reese's, Kit Kats, um, Snickers, Three Musketeers, Ruth, Baby Ruths, and stuff like that. All those types of candies. They also had even like foreign candies and foreign drinks, even. Don't remember the exact name of this type of drink. The rume, like the Japanese fruity drinks. They had a bunch of those. They had like, the Coke bottles, the glass Coke bottles and everything. They had all sorts of sweets and everything just there. On the back wall though, my mom and I had noticed that there was this one section of the candy store that was like movie candies or movie treats. And they had these little boxes that had candies inside them that were actually dedicated to a specific decade. This was actually really cool. They had, I think, from 2000s, probably 2010s, all the way back to like the 1940s or 50s. It was actually kind of a somber moment for my mom. My grandmother had just recently passed away, and looking at the candies that were listed on like the 1950s and 60s and stuff like that, my mom had a hard time with it. So a part of me after hearing that was kind of like, well, now I feel like I need to do this video. Kind of in honor of my grandmother who just recently passed. Good news, bad news though. Bad news. I was not able to get the 40s, 50s, or 60s. Come to find out, these boxes were like $20 a piece. They do come with quite a bit of candy as far as I remember on the label. It's been a while, so I don't actually remember what candies are in each specific box. But they were quite expensive. So I was like, you know what? For the time being, I'm just going to get what kind of is pertinent to the channel right now, see how it goes. And, when I'm up that way again, or when I feel like making a trip up that way, I'll stop in and see if they have the other decades available. Because I would like to kind of work my way down through the decades to see, what candies they have that, are in that box that's kind of maybe more exclusive to that box. Candies that you wouldn't necessarily see in stores. For now, though, we are going to be sticking with the 90s and early 2000s. I do not know how many of these candies I'm actually going to be able to get through. There is a list of candies on the top side or one of the sides of the boxes, but I am going to try not to look at it. As well as when I open them, I'm going to try to do it blind so that way I don't actually know what candies are in it. Obviously, I will probably not be able to finish 2 boxes worth of candies, even though it's fairly early in the morning. I haven't had breakfast and I am quite hungry. So, I got Ziplocs just in case to preserve them for later. As well as the fact of I have 2 siblings. One of them actually really loves candy. The other one's a little bit more picky, but I am fairly certain that because we all kind of grew up around the same decades and everything like that, these will probably be just fine. So, I'm going to start with the 90s first and then work my way into the 2000s. So I kind of wanted to take a look at this box because obviously it's stylized very much not only like a VHS tape a little bit, but also the spotted, what we called in school, the cow books. The reason why we called them the cow books is even though it's slightly inverted, they were black and white and slightly spotted like a cow. So we have a bunch of also little facts around here too. Like obviously you see this heart here that says Justin. Um, I'm going to assume that means Justin Timberlake because obviously it's right above a little fact here that says boy bands are all the craze with bands like NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, and 98 Degrees. I think the other boy bands that were actually really popular at the time, they might be more 80s, but they did also kind of peak in the 90s as well, but like Boys to Men and stuff like that. That was when I kind of recognized I was like, what about them? They were also there. O Town was also another one, but that might also be more 2000s. And I'm trying to think of any other 90s boy bands. I can't think of too many of them, but I know if I went through my Apple Music and just looked at bands and stuff like that or artists, I would absolutely find like 10 of them. I just can't remember all of them off the top of my head. So there's that. There's a high top sneaker here. There's a basketball basket with the ball itself. The little fact that says Michael Jordan wins 6 titles in 8 years. Obviously, Michael Jordan was a huge basketball star back in the 90s. You know, one of the things that I know a lot of kids at my school, that we always wanted were the Air Jordans, the sneakers. That was like top notch. Like if you came into school the next day and you had like if on your first day of school, you came in with Air Jordans, you were the coolest kid in school. Your year was starting off right. I mean, Skechers weren't bad either, but Air Jordans, man. Air Jordans. Of course, they were really expensive, and a lot of parents were not willing to shell out the money, especially for the fact of, I think for me, a lot of the parents that lived in my area at the time, and a lot of us, we're not part of the richest town, really, so, it was kind of more like a practicality. Was it actually going to work for you? Uh, were you getting hand-me-downs that year? But so, there's that. The last fact on this side of the box is next to these headphones, and it says 1999 Napster, the music sharing program, is downloaded onto millions of computers. I vaguely remember Napster, but honestly, the thing that I actually remember more is LimeWire. That might be more 2000s, but obviously Napster along with LimeWire, uh, one of the big reasons why you don't know about them today, why they're not a thing anymore. Not only were they illegal because they were allowing people to download music for free and not giving any royalties to the artists that they were taking music from, they were also very dangerous for your computers. I believe there were quite a few articles and cases that prove that LimeWire specifically was downloading viruses and malicious software to your computer. So as you were downloading music, it was also downloading malicious like software. So that's why you don't see those anymore and why you have to pay for certain things. Granted, I am kind of the mindset that while there should be a reasonable price, you know, somebody worked like when it comes to art pieces, whether it be music, whether it be a painting, whether it be a drawing, whether it be a video game. People work really, really hard on those things. It takes time and effort, love and dedication, blood, sweat, and tears, all three. In that not specifically in that order, but also simultaneously. To make those things. They deserve to be compensated properly for their work. Now, of course, what I mean is I'm not saying throw all your money at them, but for the work, for the labor, for the quality, they should be compensated properly. But so that's the front of this. Well, what I'm going to consider the front. Obviously, up here are all the candies. I am not looking at it. I literally have not seen any of these, so I have no idea what's in this box. But there is another side of this little packaging. And again, we still have the Justin Hart. We have the same fact about the boy bands. You know, we have this 1990s candy box, and it's called Nostalgic Candy Mix, or rather it's part of that series. I believe the 2000s one has it too. Yeah, it's also called a nostalgia candy mix. And then we have the same 2 facts for the music and the basketball fact. So now the only thing left is actually jump into this thing and see what we have. I do have a feeling that there are gonna be quite a few candies from my day that are not gonna be in this box, which is very, very sad. But granted, if they did appear in one of these 2 boxes, I would be very, very impressed. Let's see if I can open this without I have to open up the plastic first. Come on. And I could get scissors, but why would I do that? That's the easy way out. I'm not a chump. Throw my trash on the floor for the moment. The cats aren't really that interested in plastic, so it's fine. Okay, so I just want to make sure. Okay. Okay. So I kind of covered up my hand like over it so I couldn't really see it. It does kind of feel like there's a piece of paper in here. So I'm going to try and grab that first without trying to look at the candy. I can see some reflections, but it's just enough to see what like if it's in there packaged like all together or if it's like individually packaged and they just kind of threw it in the box. I took a very quick glance at this piece of paper. It is a nutrition fact about all the candies that are in here. So I am going to put that away. The only thing I saw was a very familiar candy. But I'm just gonna grab the first thing and go from there. Gonna try and turn around too. Okay, so we got sour punch. I'm trying to remember. I'm like, do I vaguely remember something like this? We may not have had sour punch exactly. We might have had actually more of an off-brand, to be honest. But I do kind of remember this, like, rainbow strings and everything. But yeah, so these are rainbow straws, and they're strawberry, green apple, blue raspberry, and lemon. I'm more of a fruity tooty kind of person, so strawberry and green apple, as well as like watermelon and oranges, typically are the flavors I go for. Blue raspberry typically isn't a bad one. Lemon is a kind of a hit or miss. It can either be really, really nice and a kind of soothing kind of flavor, or it can be really, really tart and bitter. I think the only flavor I'm not crazy about is cherry. I know a lot of people love cherry. I cannot stand cherry. To me, it's too bitter. I don't like it. There are certain things I don't mind cherry in, like Starburst ones, Starburst flavor candies are fine. Everything else typically is kind of a no-go. But so let's open this up and see what it tastes like. Okay, let's put it back. Okay. Oh, okay, so they look like this. Um, my mouth is like salivating right now. Looks like there's kind of like some like coated sugar on it. My desk is gonna be all sugary as well as sticky. They're very sticky. There is a hole in it. Can't really see it very well, but there is a hole. So it is kind of a straw. Probably would not recommend putting this in this like a drink and then trying to suck it up. Unless you're like a maniac or something like that. But I am not. As weird as I am surprisingly a very sane person. But anyways, let's try this and see how it tastes. Hmm, stuck to my teeth. Obviously, it's a gummy candy, so it's very gummy, but it's a little on the harder side. So, yeah, if you're someone that has very sensitive teeth or something like that, or has or you're someone that maybe has like implants or dentures or something like that, probably not a good candy for you. Because this is definitely gonna get stuck to your teeth. It's stuck to mine right now, and it's a little hard to chew. It's a good flavor though. There's a little bit of sourness to it, not a lot, but a little bit. But that green apple flavor is kind of faint for me. I'm just getting the the like sugar dust. That's pretty good. I'm gonna try one of each of the flavors. I'm gonna try and challenge myself to try everything, at least one of everything, and give my opinion on it. Okay, so the next one is like a strawberry. So this one I have high hopes for. I have a feeling the flavor's still gonna be kind of faint, but they're still gonna be a little bit sour. A little bit more flavor, still very faint though. Just getting a bunch of sugar. Still not a bad taste. This kind of makes me think that the lemon and the blue raspberry is it? Yeah. Is not gonna have a very strong taste either. So I'm probably gonna be okay with those and it'll probably be fine, but still. Okay, so strawberry and green apple weren't too bad. Let's go on to oh, they're stuck together, doggone it. Lemon. Lemon's the one I don't have a very high. I mean, this one I might be okay with because this is really sour, so lemon might actually work really well with this. But I'm still expecting it to taste a little bit bitter. Mm, it is quite sour though. But the lemon has again a better flavor. It's a lot more intense. It works well with this kind of like candy coating stuff. So far, lemon's taking the top for the best one out of this little pack here. Okay, and the last one being the blue raspberry. Mm, as I kind of expected, blue raspberry is a great fruity flavor, but it's a very mild flavor just in general. So again, kind of similar to like the green apple and the strawberry, probably more like the strawberry. I'm not getting a lot of that blueberry or blue raspberry flavor. I'm just getting the sugar dust on the candy. So this one doesn't really have a whole lot of flavor. This one kind of is like my least favorite because it has no flavor behind it. I think if I had to rank these, I'd probably go like probably like lemon, then green apple, then strawberry, then this blue raspberry one. Just because, like, obviously, if I'm eating a sour candy, I feel like I'm being challenged and I'm like, I want sour. I want to see how sour we can go. Because actually, I do pretty well with sour candies. There might be a little bit of a face there, but more so in my eyes, not so much like the puckering face or anything like that. It's just like okay, there's a little bit of a kick there. These are pretty sour, even for my standards. Didn't quite give me the pucker face, but did hit me enough where I was like, okay, yep, there's a little bit of punch there. Regardless, though, if you just want to get a kid on a sugar high and then send them home to their mom, this will probably do it. I'm gonna stick these back in here for now. Gonna open up a Ziploc baggie. I know that this isn't gonna help. If you have this problem, just do this. You know, get in there as much as possible, zip it up as much as you can, and then just Get a second Ziploc baggie. Wrap it up as much as possible. Put it in the other end. Do the exact same thing. You could probably be extra diligent with this and use like a rubber band and just put around this to ensure that it stays closed and no air escapes, but it's a hard gummy candy, so in the time that I'm gonna eat it, it's not gonna go bad. So I'm just gonna put this off to the side for right now so I know that I've eaten it. See, the next one, there is a little one kind of sticking out. I'm gonna just take that one first. Oh, frick. I vaguely remember these candies. I don't know if it's gonna show up very well on here, but it's these toxic waste candies, and it says hazardly sour candy. That's not what worries me though. It is the flavor on it that worries me. Literally just got done saying that cherry is not my favorite flavor. Black cherry, I think, makes me a little bit more hesitant. But I said I was gonna try every candy. So I guess here we go. Oh, shoot. Oh, and this one's also really sticky. As you can imagine, it probably melted a little bit. Uh, so yeah, all right, bottoms up. It is very, very sour, and the sour is gone. It's gone. Yeah, the thing that it has this like sour coating on it, so it really overpowers any other flavors. But I've pretty much like licked off all the coating on it, and now I'm just down to the black cherry, and I'm like, to me, it's like it's not a great flavor. It's not a terrible flavor. It's not like, oh my god, I'm gonna gag, but tastes stale, old. But I know it's not because obviously it's been preserved in a plastic wrap and everything. And candy is one of those things that, because of the fact that it has so much sugar on it, it can be preserved for much longer than a lot of other foods. On top of the fact that we live in a world where preservatives are everywhere. Yeah, it's just that black cherry flavor. I don't like it. If someone offered this to me, I definitely wouldn't accept it. I will say though that it is a hard candy underneath. I think a lot of the sour stuff was like a gel coating. So that's why it basically melted off so quickly in my mouth. But I feel like I'm eating like the last bit of like a lollipop. Like you bite off some of it to try and like get some of that flavor. And then you're like chewing and sucking on the like the really like dense bits of the lollipop for like an hour. There we go. Ooh, a little bit more sour there. Ugh, came back fighting. Hmm. I feel like I need a palate cleanser. Gonna wash you down with some Baja Blast and hope that fixes it. I mean, it cleansed the palate a little bit, not really a whole lot, but it did something. And now I need more Baja Blast. I'll get it later. But okay, so that was the Toxic Waste Black Cherry. Not my favorite at all. Not my favorite. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't like F tier and everything like that, but it wasn't great. It definitely wasn't great. So yeah, I'm hoping that there's not any more of those. If they are, obviously those are going to my siblings. Okay, so the next candy I'm sorry, what? Cream savers. These are hard candy. They are individually wrapped, so I don't have to necessarily worry too much about this. Um, it says it's strawberry and cream. The strawberry bit I love. The cream, not so much. The cream makes me a little nervous. I am one of those people that I do not like fillings inside of my candies. One of the things that probably should have told me I am somewhere on the spectrum is that I very much have a food texture thing. Certain foods will make me gag. I can push through it because I'm an adult with an adult brain, but it's still not pretty. Um, I do not like things that are filled with any sort of like cream or frosting or anything like that. So like think of like a Boston cream. I hate those. I hate Boston creams. I cannot do it because for me it's like it's going from a light fluffy texture of or like a light solid fluffy texture of the actual dough of the donut and then immediately going into something that's mushy and kind of wet, still airy, but it's now somewhat of a liquid. My brain does not like that transition. It's either going to be completely solid or completely liquid. And I'm going to be honest with you, not a lot of liquid things that I really like when it comes to food items. Drinks are different. Drinks are supposed to be liquid. Foods are supposed to be solids. My food is not solid all the way through, so that's not a food. Anyways, just kind of stalling, I suppose. Okay, nice little tab here to help me. There's one right there. I'm hoping that this will just kind of taste like a peppermint for the most part. Um, I'm not really sure, but I have a feeling there's probably going to be something in here, like in the middle of these, and I'm praying that there's not. Okay, so we've got our individual candy. It is, like they said, it's individually wrapped, so that's good. All right, try to save my fingers from getting even stickier. Okay, okay, good. Again, cream flavor, not my favorite flavor either. But so thankfully, they mean strawberry flavor mixed with cream flavor, which is really just vanilla cream. Not my favorite. Nah, not loving this. No. Honestly, I just kind of want to spit it out because not that it's super nasty and it's gonna make me gag. It's just it's a hard candy. I'm gonna be here for hours. I got crap to do. I will say though, the strawberry is a nice touch. The strawberry does give it a nice sweetness because vanilla can be very bland. It can be just very plain. Typically, nothing wrong with that. Vanilla ice cream, I actually really like. Vanilla candies, though, not so much. I don't know what it is. I think it's just the process in which the vanilla goes through to be made. It changes the taste and the chemistry of it. I am looking up these candies as we go. Kind of see also if there's other flavors because I'm pretty sure there's only one type of candy that's in these boxes, so you're not going to get like multiple flavors of the same candy. Unless it's possibly like the smaller ones, like the toxic waste one. I'm gonna assume they put the strawberry one in here because the fact of it's probably the most popular one. But apparently another popular flavor that I'm seeing on Google Images as I'm looking up images for this, orange and cream, as well as there is a raspberry and cream, I think. The raspberry and cream I think could work kind of well because again, like I said, raspberry is kind of a mild flavor for the most part. It's not tangy, it's not usually tart. It's not it is fruity, but again, out of all the fruit flavors that you usually get in a candy, typically a lot more mild. Orange and cream. I feel like it's gonna hit very much like the strawberry and cream, where, a strawberry is very tart, so it has kind of a more strong or intense flavor than like vanilla. But honestly, I think it's gonna do worse than the strawberry because obviously orange is very citric or acidic, really. And it has a more tart and intense flavor than strawberries. But I would kind of be interested to try at least one orange and orange and cream savers just to see how it compared to this one. It's finally getting thin enough that I might be able to just like be able to bite through it, but we're not quite there yet. Okay, so I will say that biting through the candy is kind of like that last flavor blast actually was pretty good. I think because in a way I wasn't just getting flavors of strawberry and vanilla, it was more mixed like when you did that. It actually tasted a lot better. So, not a terrible candy. Honestly, if I had to give this again like a tier rating kind of idea, this would probably be like a C for me. Probably more like a D plus, I'd say. Not my favorite, definitely not something I'm gonna reach for, but definitely not a bad candy. I can see why people like this regardless. I do also really like the packaging and the fact that they wrap it individually so that way I don't have to waste a bag on this. I can just set it off to the side. But again, that vanilla for me, because that's not really a flavor that I'm really in love with, just gonna stick it to the side. I've also never heard of cream saver, so this is actually really good. I was actually thinking that this 90s box, because again, there are a lot of candies that are still sold today that, have been around for decades now. I was thinking I was gonna know quite a few of the candies that were in this. So far, none of these candies I remember. But like I've said in the past videos, where I live, we were not very adventurous with a lot of products. Like a lot of the really cool products, like pizza Pringles and stuff like that, or like pizza Doritos. The weird flavors like that. That a lot of oh geez, goodness, lost my voice there for a moment. But a lot of those really weird flavors that you wouldn't think of putting together in a combination of of a snack. We never really got those until years later when it was proven that people really like those flavors. I think we're starting to come along to it now. A lot of the things that I start seeing on other people's channels, food item wise, I'm starting to see show up in my local grocery store. So I'm like, yes, we're finally getting put on the map. Let's see, what is the next one? I feel something. I think this is a lollipop. I was not made for this world. It's a little hard to see with the packaging, and I don't know, but it's a caramel apple pops from Tootsie. It is green apple candy with chewy caramel. Um, I am again not into caramel. You may be asking yourself, why are you making this video then if you don't like half of the flavors that are in candy? I'm beginning to ask myself the same question. Granted, there are a lot of people that really just love to see people suffer. They just love watching the world burn. So to all you freaks out there, I guess this video is also dedicated to you. There's something a little concerning on the packaging here. There are a few brown spots on the packaging. I don't think they come off. No, so I'm wondering if and there's nothing like sticky on it or anything like that either. Refocus here real quick. But there's nothing sticky on the packaging either. Like my fingers aren't sticky. So that brown marking is not coming through necessarily, but I do believe that is the caramel. I think it's just probably leaked through the packaging itself, which kind of makes me a little concerned that the coloring of the packaging is on the inside and not the outside. So, hopefully this doesn't give me food poisoning of any sort. But let us try opening this up. I will probably not finish this. I will probably give this a few licks and then I might promptly throw it away. This is one that I am not going to force myself to finish because again, it's like I'm probably not going to finish it. Oh my god. The plastic is so flimsy too cuz it's for this hard candy. That looks appetizing, maybe. I will say caramel and vanilla for me are kind of on that same vein where I don't hate them. They work in some things, but typically when it comes to candies, anything that says vanilla, anything that says caramel, not going for. But let's try it. Mm, I will say not terrible. The weird thing about this, but it does also kind of make sense because of the company that made it, the caramel tastes like a Tootsie Roll, like a chocolate Tootsie Roll. I I don't know if that's how caramel apples are supposed to taste too, but it tastes like that. Um, Kind of hard to stick it all in my mouth too. That's pretty good actually. I will say that it's pretty good. But there's definitely a lot of caramel on the back, or there's a lot of caramel on the front more so than there's on the back. So I kind of want to like lick off the caramel enough so I can get to the green apple part so I can taste that. I will say though, this is another one that if you have sensitive teeth or fake teeth, not the candy for you. Even just placing it in my mouth to try and get as much of that caramel off, the caramel, like, even with the slightest touch, the caramel is sticking to my teeth. Like, I'm pretty sure if I put it in there, just very lightly tap it to the top of my mouth and, like, have it touch, like, the canines or my molars and everything like that, and then open my mouth, the lollipop would stick to the top. So I'm like, yeah, uh, definitely a very gummy candy as well. Eh. Mm. Don't recommend doing that. Don't do that. Just just let it dissolve. Okay. I'm gonna set this aside. It is taking a really long time. I'm gonna put this in a plastic baggie. It doesn't want to go in the baggie, so that's always a great thing. But not bad. Definitely not bad. Flavor's pretty good. Pretty mild. Was not able to get to that green apple, which really, really sucks. Um, and then on top of that, I can't lie, it's a little dangerous. It's a bit of a dangerous candy. If I did have to rank it though, I probably would have ranked it like for me at least C plus. Like it's again one of those things like if someone offered it to me, I'd probably eat it happily, be totally fine with the flavor. But it's not one I'm necessarily like, oh my gosh, I really love these. It's it's okay. Not bad. Let's see. The next candy, is this another, well, it's better at least. So we have another toxic waste one, but this one's apple now. So I will eat it to compare it to the black cherry. I have a feeling this one's gonna be a lot better though. Also, probably a lot more sour. So, ugh, oh my goodness. It's it's leaked through the bag a little bit. Well, not leaked through, but yeah, I think I got a little bit of the hand sanitizer that I put on my hands before this video. I felt like it was a good idea. Maybe, I don't know, put some hand sanitizer on before the video and then wait 15 minutes for it to soak into my skin because I'm gonna be touching food and feeding myself, so might wanna have some clean hands. That was not a good idea. But yeah, it is definitely melted into the plastic, so but it's definitely sour. Alright, let's go. Mm. Still kinda the same thing with the black cherry. There's this, like, sour gel that's coated the candy, and it's very, very sour. I'm starting to kind of get through it now and just get to the candy. It does over sorry, it does overpower the rest of the flavor of the candy, but where this is a green apple, you still get a little bit more of that sweet flavor. So yeah, now I'm at the candy, and now it's starting to taste like green apple again. And of course, it's a great flavor. Freaking love green apple, man. Can't go wrong with apples. But yeah, this one would definitely be like a probably an A for me. Definitely an A tier for me. Just because I do love the green apple flavor. The sourness is super intense. But I think it's that sourness that keeps it out of the S tier for me because it is so overpowering. It is so intense of a flavor. It's not like painful necessarily, but it's overwhelming. Not only as a flavor, but as a sensation. But once you get through that and you get to the candy itself, the candy is actually pretty good. Again, not a very intense flavor, but you do get a lot of that sweetness of the apple. And it doesn't take long to eat them either, so it's kind of nice. Obviously, I don't think I could see myself sitting here eating like 10 of them in one sitting. But I could probably go through like 2 or 3 of them in a sitting. So, pretty good actually. That one I definitely didn't mind. I think I actually am gonna get hand sanitizer though because my fingers are really sticky now from that. Another thing that kinda keeps it out of the S tier. Very messy, very sticky. Okay. Still some stickiness, but the hand sanitizer definitely does do a good job of getting rid of it. Most of it. Okay, so let's see. What's the next candy in here? I feel a very small candy. Well, definitely in the same vein, but different company. Warheads. These are the extreme sour ones, and of course, it is the black cherry one. Because why not? Why not? I'm gonna do this because technically it is a different brand, and even though it is a flavor that we've already tried, different brands or different companies could also have the flavor be a little bit different. Probably still gonna sit with the other one though, unfortunately. Hopefully, though, not as messy. You know, I'm already deducting points because I can't open your package. Okay, I had to get a pair of scissors because I couldn't open your stupid package. Oh boy. But yeah, it's kinda got, like, that gummy, gooey, kinda gel flavoring on it, which I'm sure is where most of the sourness is gonna be. Pop it in and see. Definitely more sour, or at least a little bit more sour than the toxic waste one. But I will say it's a lot sweeter. The flavor of this one, like, I've gotten through the sour stuff, most of it at least, and the flavor of that black cherry now isn't as unpleasant. It tastes very, very sweet now, um, a little fruitier. It's definitely not an unpleasant, like, taste. I would probably actually put this at, like, a probably like a B minus. Yeah, it'd be about B minus. It's not a candy flavor that I would necessarily, again, reach for, but if a friend offered it to me, if it was, like, in a candy pack or something like that, I'd probably definitely wouldn't, like, refuse it. It probably would be eaten at some point. But yeah, definitely tastes better than the toxic waste one. Okay, finally got it down to where I could chew through it. Surprisingly enough, the one thing that the warheads don't have that the toxic waste do is that when you bite through it, there's not like that last punch of sour that you get with the toxic waste ones. It's very bland. It's very much like you've sucked all the flavor out now. So it's very mild towards the end, which I think again for me at least makes it a little bit better for like in this tier list that I'm making because of the fact of I'm like it's still sour. It still gives you that sour, but it's not overwhelming. I will say though, I do hope that the next couple candies aren't part of a sour thing because my tongue is starting to feel it. I'm starting to feel the sourness burning through. Okay, so there's another caramel apple pop. There's another warhead, but it's apple this time. My tongue is hating me right now. It is not going to hate me. It hates me currently. But dang, us 90 kids, we loved our sour. That is something that's becoming apparently clear. We loved our sour. Okay, thankfully, this one also isn't as sticky. I can very much just take it out of the package. There's no like residue or anything like that. It's very much still intact. So let's see how much my tongue hates me after this. Hmm, actually not as sour. Very sweet. You still get the green apple and everything, but it's a lot more mild than the black cherry. A lot more mild. I actually have to rank this lower than the black cherry. Like this is kind of more like a C plus, I guess, because it doesn't have as much of that sour. The green apple flavor is good, but it tasted a lot like the black cherry, where it's like it's not that there's anything wrong with the actual candy itself. Like it's not bad, it's not expired, but the taste just doesn't taste right. There's like that bitterness, that weird bitterness where you're expecting it to be sweet, and I just don't get it. Have you ever those moments where you're like eating or sucking on something and you become, for some reason, very self aware about the act of swallowing? Like you're just like, okay, I chew food and then I swallow it to digest it. And you become actively aware about how that process works. It almost freaks you out to the point where you're like, I don't know how to swallow food anymore. I just had that existential crisis while trying to like dissolve that warhead candy in my mouth. It was kind of brutal. I actually sat there for a moment. I was like, can I actually swallow this or am I going to have to spit this out? But yeah, Kinda brutal. Finally got it dissolved. Not gonna deduct points, but definitely that's something that I don't like about hard candies, just in general. It takes forever to actually eat them. It does keep your mouth busy, so it's great for, like, if you're nervous or you're at a job or something like that, and it's something that, like, you can, like, just keep yourself busy and aware kind of idea, but I don't like those. But let's see, I think we're down to, like, either the last or one of the last candies. There's a lot of little candies in here, to be honest. Some that we've tried, some that we haven't. Okay. So there are watermelon flavored toxic waste and warheads here. Um, my tongue cannot take any more sour things, and I don't want to be here all day trying to eat these. So we are just gonna leave those to the side. Basically, I think my rating for them is pretty much just where the other ones are at right now. Somewhere between B's and C's. But one thing I am super excited for, and one candy that I do know, and I know I like, baby bottle pops. Obviously, not gonna try and eat the entire thing, but I do know that I like these. So, for those of you that may not have had a baby bottle pop ever, first and foremost, my condolences. That's very sad. I'm so sorry. Secondly, this is a great candy that you can preserve. Probably not preserve for very long, but you can preserve it for later. So, like if you're going to an event or if you're just trying to eat it between certain tasks, this is good candy for that. So, there's a plastic cover top that comes off, helps preserve the candy nipple, I suppose, of this baby bottle. You unscrew the top. You can either hold the side of the plastic or there is like, oh, frick. Don't do that. Uh, so there's powder inside. And there's a little tab on the bottom so you can actually hold it there. I think for us, back in the day, the original baby bottle pops had like they had a tab, but it was more like a stick, a plastic stick that you could wrap your tiny little child fingers around and then dip it in. But so, just dipping it in as is doesn't really get a lot of powder, but you then just lick it off. And the more you lick off, the more of the top of the bottle that you lick and then put back in the powder, the more powder you get. So, mwah. You could do what I do at times, make sure I got a lot of powder, shake it up a little bit, and then the entire thing's coated. This is strawberry flavor, by the way. Again, a really great flavor. This is definitely not a sour candy by any means. I think there are sour variations of this, like a baby bottle pop sour edition or version, but regular baby bottle pops are not sour. They're just a very sweet candy. I kind of think of it as like kind of like the fun dips, not sour, just really super sweet candies. This is S tier. This is absolutely S tier. I'm actually gonna put this away because, granted, I definitely could eat all of this, but I don't want to do that just yet. As well as the fact that I gotta clean up powder from my desk and my floor now from what I did. But one candy actually I was a little disappointed about, and I believe it was a 90s candy, but it was discontinued. But it was actually my favorite, and I would put it S tier, like, in a heartbeat, is Wonder Ball. Now, many of you may be saying, like, oh, well, Wonder Balls still do exist. Not the ones that I knew. Not my version. So, my version of Wonder Ball, the ones that I used to get as a kid, you could get in the grocery store, you could get at Walmart, basically, and they were, like, up near the cash registers, obviously to entice children. Typically, when I would go to Walmart or the grocery store and I'd see it, my mom, they do the whole ultimatum thing where it'd been like, if you're good, you can pick it out. You can get a candy. And that was typically always the one that I picked. That or I think Reese's or Kit Kats. But that was definitely one of them because I loved chocolate. What it was that basically it was, I think Disney partnered with it at one point, but it'd be like a Disney little box, probably about that big. It was a chocolate ball. You would bite inside, and there'd be hard candies inside, shaped like whatever the Wonder Ball partnership was. So, like if it was Disney, it'd be like Disney princesses or, just various Disney characters. If it was Paw Patrol. Obviously we didn't have it back then, but let's just say it was. It'd be Paw Patrol characters. And it was just really mild, kind of sweet, little hard candies. And I think inside you'd also get maybe like a sticker or something. Come to find out, um, kids started choking on these things. I don't know how they did it. I mean, I know how they did it, but at the same time, I guess for me, because it didn't happen to me, because I knew there was something inside. You shook it around a little bit and you knew that there was something inside. So I knew not to put the entire chocolate ball in my mouth and try and chomp down. I'd take like a little bite out of the ball and then I'd pick the chocolate away one by one, eating it as I went to get to the hard candies inside. Or because there was a seam around the ball where they, just put chocolate around and just melted it together. I would just try to break apart the ball at the seam. So I'd have like a little cup for all my little hard candies to sit in. Yeah, kids started choking on those. And that's why things like Kinder eggs are no longer legal in the United States, because I believe Kinder Egg also had this thing where they'd put toys and hard candies inside of the ball itself. Kids started eating it just whole, thinking it was chocolate all the way through, I think. And then they ended up choking on like a very small toy, one of the stickers, one of the hard candies. It was just a bad time for everybody. So, thank you, little Timmy, for choking on that candy and ruining it for all of us. Now we no longer get the wonderful Wonder Ball the way that we remember it. They now suck. Thanks, little Timmy. Or Susie. Thank you too, Susie, who choked on it. In all honesty, though, I am very sorry. If you actually have memories of choking on that, I am super sorry. That is a terrifying thing to have experienced. Um, and I think the Wonder Ball that we do have is a nice compromise. I am honestly just glad that we have it back in any fashion. But I will say, though, the actual taste of that candy also changed as well over time. I remember the candy as a kid being a lot richer, like the chocolate itself being a lot richer. Now it just tastes very cheap. Like, it tastes like the chocolates that you get from the advent calendars. Don't get me wrong. Kind of as a tradition for my brother or sister and I, for Christmas, I will pick up the advent calendars at the grocery store. But again, it's more so for the tradition. We're not doing it for the candy, we're doing it for the tradition. The candy sucks. We're gonna admit that. The chocolate inside sucks. It tastes cheap. But yeah. Okay, so I think my stomach and my tongue need a bit of a break because I don't actually remember what's in the 2000s one. If it's any more sour candy, I need to take a break from it real quick. Let my tongue, you know, figure its crap out. And yeah, I'll come back with the 2000s one when I'm feeling ready for that. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Obviously, if you remember any of these candies or even have fun stories about them, please let me know. And of course, if you remember the Wonder Balls and everything like that, like back in the day when they had them in the grocery stores, let me know of your memories of that. I'd be really interested to know if anybody has any like really funny, quirky, or just wholesome memories of any of the candies that we've had here today. And of course, look forward to the 2000s one that I will do in a separate video. Um, I'm actually really looking forward to those 'cause I think I'm gonna remember a lot more of those than I will the 90s one. And yeah, hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.